Medical debt is a major issue in the US. So, according to the White House, about 179 million Americans have medical debt on their credit reports today. When we step back and look at it, we think that is a significant undercount. What we know from consumer behavior is that medical loans, medical finance companies, that's not the first stop for most consumers when they're encountering a big medical expense or a series of medical expenses. Where most consumers go is their credit card. It's a tool they're used to using, they're comfortable with it, it's given them flexibility on payments before, it is not a bad choice. The challenge, though, is that medical debt paid for by a credit card, when you think about your credit report, it just gets treated like any old credit card debt. Whereas medical debt on your credit report financed by like a medical debt company, right? That gets treated differently. We have a lot of compassion in this country for folks who are going through a medical hardship. And so first off, medical debt typically has a 0% interest rate. But second, missed payments on medical debt are treated differently. They are not penalized against your credit score when they occur because we understand that medical debt is different. On the other hand, if that medical debt is paid for by a credit card and someone misses a payment on that credit card, that does penalize their credit score. They will see their credit score decline, they'll see creditworthiness decline, and that can have a lot of ramifications in a lot of areas of their financial life, right? Credit scores can be used for, deciding whether or not someone gets a job. It can impact your insurance rates. It touches a lot of your financial world. And when we look specifically at the consumers we are working with, it isn't just that credit report piece that's a challenge. Part of the challenge is by the time they come to us, they've exhausted all of the options that they know to exhaust. So they've used their credit cards to pay for medical debt. And when those became too uncomfortable or as those start to max out, consumers then move to using medical finance companies. And so they've got both credit card debt that is medical expenses and medical debt that is medical expenses. And so the average consumer that we work with, who has medical debt, their budget deficit is about $788 a month. That is a really big hole to crawl out of. When we look at people who don't have medical debt, on the other hand, folks who aren't coming to us for a medical hardship, there's no medical debt on their credit report, what we see is that their budget deficit is only about $35. It's a really sizable difference. And I want to say too, when we think of the scope of the problem, it is a large portion of the folks that are coming to us. It's one of the most frequently cited hardships and one of the most frequently cited reasons that folks come to us. It makes up about 22% of our clients that are coming to us for medical hardship, medical debt reasons. On the other hand, we see that giving them a plan and working with a counselor makes a meaningful long-term difference in their outcomes. So, first off, it gives them peace of mind. Financial stress is a horrible kind of stress to go through. It wears people down. It affects your job. It affects your relationships. It affects your health, which here is really critical. And so being able to take that stress away makes a big difference and allows those consumers to focus on their health, the health of their family, themselves, their recovery, whatever it is. But it is a huge stress relief for them. The second piece is consumers who work with a counselor are incredibly successful at finding solutions. So when we look at our long-term study of consumer outcomes, those with medical debt are just as successful at paying off their debt, at resolving their financial situation, at balancing their budget as consumers who come to us with just regular run-of-the-mill credit card debt. So it's really important to get these folks the help that they need because they want to be successful, they can be successful, and medical debt doesn't have to become a burden for them any longer.